Hello well-wishers and welcome to my channel Aspiring Minds. In today's video, let's dive deep into a truly inspiring topic, the Chicano Movement. We are going to explore how this movement changed the political power and brought social change during the 1960s, which was indeed a very turbulent period. So make sure to stick around to learn about the key events, the organizations, and the incredible impact this movement had on our nation. If you love history and social justice with a touch of literature, hit that subscribe button and join my community. So in this video, we are going to talk about the political climate of the 1960s, the origins of the Chicano movement, actions leading to the Chicano movement, the various organizations which were created by the Chicano movement, the main issues in Chicano fighting for political power, and also the role of Latina women. At the end, I will also be talking to you about the 4 major themes which this movement centered around. So grab your virtual seats and let's begin. Let's set the stage. The 1960s was a wild ride. The civil rights movement was in full swing and there was a massive protest against the Vietnam War. Amidst all this, the Mexican Americans emerged. They started waking up to the unique ethnic identity that they had and the systemic inequalities that they faced. It was a perfect storm for the Chicano movement to ignite because there were these 3 major pointers that you could keep in mind. That is the civil rights movement, the Vietnam War protests, and the awareness that was also coming among the Mexican Americans that they need to go against the system so that they can get adequate representation. So where do you think the term Chicano emerged? It's actually derived from the Spanish word Mexicano, and it became a badge of honor for Mexican Americans who were trying to reclaim or get back their cultural heritage. This identity was all about pride and resistance against any kind of negative stereotypes which would come in the way of their identity formation. When we talk about the actions that led to the Chicano movement, it did not just appear out of nowhere. It was fueled by brave actions that were being taken. And what were these 3 major actions that were taken? Number 1 is the East LA walkouts or the student walkouts in the year 1968. And according to this, thousands of students protested against unequal school conditions. Not all students were getting the same kind of educational infrastructural facilities. And let's not forget the Delano grape strike. It was led by Cesar Chavez and Dolores Huerta fighting for farm workers' rights. Added to this, we also have a third point which I'll discuss in the next part. Added to this, we had the formation of La Raza Unida party which emerged, and this party's agenda was to push for better political representation for the Mexican Americans. Out of this movement, several key organizations were born. We have the United Farm Workers. It was led by Chavez and Huerta, aimed to improve the labor laws and the labor working conditions. Secondly, we have the Brown Berets. They tackled issues like police brutality and social injustice because in those times, the police, just because they were representatives of law, they would be very cruel in trying to enforce law on the common public, especially the Americans, the Mexican Americans, and this also created social injustice. And thirdly, we have the formation of the Mexican American Youth Organization or the MAYO, which pushed for educational reform and political activism among the young Chicanos. Now, if I talk to you about the film Chicano Fighting for Political Power, it sheds light on several major issues. First is discrimination and inequality. The movement fought hard for political representation to ensure that the Mexican Americans had a voice, had representation, had a place or a seat in the government. And let's not forget the education reform, which was a key to providing equal opportunities for all. Now, at this time, an important aspect of the Chicano movement was the role of the Latina women. They faced traditional gender roles and expectations, however, they fought for their rights within the movement. Their efforts were crucial or important in addressing the intersectionality of gender and ethnicity. They ensured that the gender practices in the country were equal, and it was a part of the broader struggle for justice. Even though there were instances of men feeling that there were rather more women in the Raza party, still the men left the party. However, the women continued with their agenda of gender equality. Finally, the Chicano movement brought about significant changes. There were legislative victories which improved the labor laws and educational policies. On a cultural level, it fostered pride and identity among Mexican Americans, influencing art, literature, and politics, much of which you can see through the pictures which I have used throughout to show you the vibrancy of colors they used in their art forms. So we can say that the legacy of this movement continues to inspire activism and advocacy for social justice till today. So when we talk about the Chicano movement, these are the four major themes that the movement centered around. It included cultural identity and pride, socio-economic justice, political empowerment, civil rights, and anti-discrimination. Let us see each of these themes quickly in details. To talk about cultural identity and pride, the Chicano movement emphasized reclaiming and celebrating Mexican American heritage and identity. The activists promoted cultural pride, language preservation, and the recognition of their indigenous and mestizo roots, challenging pressures and negative stereotypes. They were trying to face all these obstacles that came their way, but still held on to having a strong cultural identity and pride established. The movement fought for social and economic equality, focusing on issues like labor rights, educational reform, and housing facilities. This included advocating or promoting or demanding, rather, I would say, for better working conditions for farm workers, equal educational opportunities, and fair housing practices. Political activism was a central theme, aiming to increase political representation and participation for the Mexican Americans. This involved forming political organizations like La Raza Unida Party and engaging in voter registration drives. This would ensure that the Chicanos had a voice in the local, state, and national governments. Lastly, the Chicano movement was deeply rooted in the broader struggles for civil rights, seeking to end racial discrimination and inequality. This included fighting against police brutality, advocating for bilingual education, and challenging the segregation and systemic racism in various aspects of the society. So, to recap, the Chicano movement was a powerful force for change, bringing about legislative victories, cultural pride, and ongoing inspiration for social justice. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the Chicano movement. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more history and social movement insights. Do comment down below with your thoughts and suggestions for future topics. Until next time. So that's it from this video. I hope you liked it. Do hit the like button. Subscribe to my channel for more such future updates. Thank you for watching. Bye.